só para eu falar um negócio. Não, não, já vamos começar. Bom dia, gente.
Good morning, everyone. How are you? Good morning. Well, today we are doing something crazy because we have simultaneously here an activity in this room. Then we have in the other room with 180 places, youth activity in a smaller room, and the beginning of the forum that's going on at the Palladium Hotel, and a parental skills course and a women's course in different places. And with us, me, Samuel, and Gisele, my large 5 people team, we are coordinating everything. That's why we are a little bit late. So Andre will help me. He's from our team as well. He's part of our team. So I'm going to hand him to him the panel at 8:30. Who needs to leave earlier? Oh, okay. Well, our panel will last 2 hours, and you manage it the best way possible. Andrea will stay here. I will walk around. Now I'm going to give the floor to Andrea, and Andrea will invite all the speakers to come to the stage. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for the panelists who are receiving a incredibly high fee for this year. I will double your fee because 2 times 0 is 0, so everything will be all right. Good morning, everyone. I hope you are enjoying your stay. For those who are in Serra Negra, those who are just spending the day, please go to the city, go to the Fontana de Trevi, and I'll give you another. Oh, don't forget to take a look at the posters by researchers. Go there, take pictures, share them. uh, take pictures inside the space we have. Go to the booths and visit the booths. It's very important. Those who have their booths here, they help us a lot. They are our sponsors. So please ask questions, have some coffee, get your gifts. There's a snack bar outside. There are restrooms down the stairs, and that's it. To start our panel today, because I don't want to. So today's panel is alcohol, the most used drug, and I'm going to start this moderation, and I'd like to invite first our moderator, Mário Sérgio Sobrinho. He's a state prosecutor of the state of São Paulo. He has an MA on criminal procedure. He's a professor on therapeutic justice of the higher school education of the Public Prosecutor's Defender. He's a counselor of Fundação Porta Aberta, which promotes social and professional reinsertion of people who abuse the use of alcohol and drugs. Thank you very much for coming. So please, I will help you with your time, okay? Great, thank you.
Responsabilidade estar acompanhando Freemind e hoje com pessoas de grande gabarito e grande envolvimento.
So there are people who are really involved in the cause of alcohol and drug prevention. So I'm happy because even though there are many other panels and activities, we have many people who are here today to follow the panel we have here today. So today I will start by calling our guests to the stage. First, Gabriela Henrique. Dr. Gabriela Henrique. She's a psychologist, currently the Alcoholic Anonymous chair of the counseling. She's an expert on chemical addiction from Unifesp, and she's certified from ABAD for her experience in the field of disorder due to the use of substance and behavioral addictions. Please, Dr. Gabriela. Sit wherever you want, please. Here we have Dr. Eduardo Alencar Tomazello. He's a homeopath doctor, he's a family doctor and community doctor. He's the vice president of AMEC. He coordinates Campinas Apoio Fraterno group for people with addiction and codependence. Please welcome on stage. Now our Lotufo. He's a doctor in pediatrics from the University of São Paulo, representative of the Brazilian Association of Pediatrics in the actions to fight alcohol, tobacco, and drug consumption, responsible for the unit that fights the use of drugs and alcohol by children and youth in the Brazilian Pediatric Society. He's a member of the Commission of the Fight Against Tobacco from the Brazilian Medical Association. He's a member of the Legal and Illegal Drugs Commission, and he's the clinical director of the University Hospital of USP, and he's responsible for the project Dr. Bartô and Doctors of Health. It's a project that aims at preventing drugs in middle and high schools. Thank you, Dr. Bartô. In addition, he has a radio show, which I listen very often at Rádio USP. Is it a daily show, Doctor? It's quarterly. It's a quarterly show. Okay, so we have this discussion roundtable comprised of people with a lot of experience, dedication to this theme, and a lot of experience and knowledge, so that this theme of drugs we must be persistent besides having knowledge and experience. I see here we have new people here. Some of you are here for the first time, and you can see that through the expertise of those who are here, that this theme needs perseverance, because without perseverance we do not move forward due to the amount of obstacles and setbacks against those who work in alcohol and drug prevention. So to start, I will give the floor to Dr. Gabriela. She will talk for 20 minutes. Please put on the sound, DJ. Hello, good morning to you all. It's a huge pleasure to be here. I'll set here my clock to work. What about the light? Well, let's start. Our theme in this round table reminds you all that the proposal of this Congress is the mission and the omission of society. So this is the theme of this 9th conference. So I'm going to talk about this proposal and about our responsibility as citizens and professionals, because in our practices and in our fields. Where should I point to? The clicker? Can anyone help me? Okay. So I need to say that I have a conflict of interest here. Today I'm the vice chair of the General Services Council for the Alcoholic Anonymous of Brazil, but I also direct the clinic and consultancy Psiquid, and I specialize and I have the experience in this field. I've been working with this during 26 years, and I must report that. So here I will start giving you an introduction of Alcoholic Anonymous, the mission of the Alcoholic Anonymous on society. in the part of execution outside recovery groups, outside recovery meeting, how we as Alcoholic Anonymous, I'm a non-alcoholic, therefore I can be a representative at the national level, and the members are anonymous, and we are going to talk about that soon. According to each service, people will, but a member can do it or a friend of an AA, depending on the representativeness on the place. So, the preamble of AA, I bring this because it summarizes how AA operates. It's a brotherhood of people who share among themselves their experiences, strengths, and hopes, seeking to solve their common problem, which is alcoholism, and help other people recover and remain sober. That's the search of the AA. The only requirement to be an AA member is the person to express in a recovery meeting their desire to stop drinking. And then she enters and becomes an AA member. There are no fees, there are no monthly fees, and AA it's self-sufficient in the world. AA has been for 89 years, is present in over 180 countries, which is financially funded by a volunteer donation from the members in recovery meetings. And that adds and that brings in financial and administrative operation and sustainability to to maintain coffee and biscuits during meetings and other types of services that require funding as well. It's not connected to any religion, no political movement or organization or institution, but it is not does not get into controversy, does not fight causes, does not make agreements, does not support ideologies. Our primary purpose is to remain sober and help other alcoholics to reach their sobriety. So that's an assumption of the AA members, and I myself have as well. And I use the program as well in my life, and it's very helpful. Even for those who are not alcoholics, you can try it because it's worth it. Now let's talk about the mission of AA with society. What operates outside the group and many people don't know. Many of you have heard of the AA, but most of you think it's AA, you have to take the 12 steps, practice the 12 steps, read the 12 steps, but it's much more than that. The commissions, what are the roles of the commissions in the AA? It can be a small city with its district, its area in that region, and in regions of our country. So I believe that the commission of a CP, which is offering information to the audience, that's what I'm doing here. I'm in a conference informing people about the AA and talking about AA's operation. So in a CP, which is talking about AA on the press according to the requested theme, in universities, government or private institutions, religion, education, or in non-professional educations, institutions, for instance, from putting up a poster on the bakery about that group's neighborhood, that neighborhood's group, at the club, so that people can know that in that neighborhood there's an AA group that operates. Maybe someone has a person who's an alcoholic in their family, so they can get information in the AA. So when you're going to reach the public, if it's to put up a poster on a wall, the members can do that. But to speak in public, to speak here, for instance, it must be a non-alcoholic to preserve their anonymity. So that is taken very seriously inside AA. The second AA commission is CITI. It's for treatment institutions. So it can be both in at clinics or at the hospital, and they need a support. Someone is admitted in the hospital or in a clinic. So they request the service of the nearest AA service unit, and the AA member can help. There's a hotline, 24-hour hotline at the website aa.org.br. We have there mapped out all all groups that exist in Brazil. So if you need uh, aa.org.br, where you are. You can go to your state and seek in your neighborhood, and you will find the information, the address information, working hours, help hotline to get in touch with them, and you have your support there. So where you go in Brazil, if you need, you just access the website and you will find the address of an AA group. Long-term housing, for example, it's an elderly person. It's someone who cannot, so that elderly person has to stay in a long home stay. They have an issue with alcohol, so the AA members can go there and help people who are in need. The third commission is SICI. It's a for correctional institutions. In other words, members can go and talk to the person who's for the responsible authority for that institution. Once it is authorized, it's always like that. We need authorization. They can hold recovery meetings inside the prison system or for people. Now we suggest, it is suggested in AA, so in AA there are no orders, only suggestions. So they suggest that people who have already been in the prison system do not conduct that type of work. So there's a guideline to favor society that seeks that information and obtains that information, just as a protection in a certain way for that member to do not have a relapse in use or emotional relapse. So it's a way to preserve the anonymity and the integrity of that member. Another commission is CCCP, Commission for Cooperation with the Professional Community. This one is a little bit more specific, let's say. It needs people who have a deeper knowledge, the 12 steps, the 12 traditions of AA, which guide their members inside the recovery spectrum and the spectrum of AA, the structure of AA as well, and have the notion of what are the 12 concepts for world services of AA, so that that person can inform with more detail and have more and offer more in-depth information about how AA operates in those 3 legacies of AA, which I believe you have already seen. The AA logo, it has a triangle: unity, recovery, and service. So recovery is based on the 12 steps. The maintenance of unity of AA among its members and for civil society is within the 12 traditions. And the service, which is something I'm doing here to be prepared to speak in the name of AA, the person must also know the 12 concepts for world service. So keeping that coherence, and that usually is a service that's directed to people who manage people. So if I'm going to give a talk in a hospital for supervisors, or if I'm going to talk in a private company that's having issues with its employees, and I'm going to talk to the management or with the directors if it's a multinational company. So we need to think very well how that company works so that we can take the AA message of everything that fits into the AA system so that these managers are multipliers of that information in a proper and qualified way. And that's put in detail. That's not simple. So that's why we pay a lot of attention toward the person who is going to take that message, to convey that message, to take that information. Because it's not enough to know the first sentences of the 12 steps. It's something that's much deeper because we're talking about saving lives. We're talking about transforming people. We're talking about self-care. In AA, we talk about maintaining withdrawal, maintaining withdrawal. It's a reprogramming. Why recovery? Recovery, the action I had lost to alcohol in my life. So it's a huge responsibility to take the AA message elsewhere. It's mainly to those who are members as well, because that person, in a way, they say they talk about why they went to the AA and they relive that. So they must be going to meetings and it's not lost in services, so that they can keep their emotional structure and remain well, regardless of what that person is going to find, because it's a true challenge. So that usually this is an important part, okay?
So, why do we have this different factor? Well, if a company requests that Alcoholic Anonymous members offer a recovery meeting for employees, that this should not mingle with the concept of the company. It can add, it can complement. The proposal is complementary proposal, as we said in Freemind. We have been saying Freemind. So it's cooperation without affiliation. So AA will be where you invite them. AA will be where society needs and requests it. You can be sure of that. Even if sometimes we cannot go a specific day, but someday there will be someone representing Alcoholic Anonymous to show how it works, how it operates, and that's what differentiates it. We're there to add and not to exclude. We are inclusive. Today we have meetings with specific purposes for women, for LGBTQIA+, for black population, indigenous population. So I did not fit into the mixed meeting, or I do go to the mixed meeting, but today I want to go to special purpose meeting for women, because I will need to talk about some specific things for women where I will be more comfortable in speaking in a women meeting. So, or sometimes you schedule yourself to go to a specific meeting and you're not able to go because it's raining. We also have online meetings. Why did I quote omission, inaction of AA? Because the only inaction that AA needs to do is the name of the member of the AA, to preserve this member, preserve the privacy of this person, preserve oftentimes their integrity, depending on where she has already lived, where she usually goes to avoid stigma, and somehow to preserve the sisterhood and the brotherhood of AA, which also includes that the member has the right to reveal that he's under recovery or that she is under recovery, and their anonymity, if they want to position themselves to someone, to a group, or to a congress like this one. But I do not have the right to reveal the anonymity of the person that I know within a group of alcoholic anonymous recovery groups. So the message is that we're able to multiply, that where we are requested, AA will be there. I brought this quote that I use a lot at my talks, my counseling, my advisory, and themed lectures, and it worked. If it's my feeling, I'm the person that rules this feeling. If same thing with my will. If my will is mine, I rule my will. So if I have fears, insecurities, wills, desires, I can seek help, and I can find sobriety, and I can maintain my sobriety. So please do ask for help, and do request AA in your companies and your work environment. I thank Gabriela Henrique and all of you on behalf of AA and One Day at a Time. Thank you. Well, my friends, first of all, thank you, Dr. Gabriela Henrique, for the very clear, straightforward, within time presentation, talking about Alcoholic Anonymous, showing the potential of this sisterhood and brotherhood of its members to cooperate with society to deal with the matter of alcohol, which is the most used drug, and the topic of this panel. I was seeing a piece of news, and they were talking about and they were talking about McDonald's, which is represented in 100 countries, and we have AA 180 countries, and NA in a very similar number. So our potential in mutual help, that we as professionals, technicians, I can see, of course, I can see civil guard here and also policemen in their uniforms. We also have teachers. Welcome to this place. Teachers, people that work in the educational area. Maybe you don't know many of those mutual help centers, and this presentation of Dr. Gabriela was very good for us to understand how mutual help works, especially AA, who is really glad in helping and answering the requests of schools, universities, hospitals, clinics, of people that are in some specific collective activity, condos, associations that want AA there, bringing its message and helping people that want to go under recovery. So, in sequence, at a panel which is alcohol, the most used drug, we'll ask Dr. Alencar. He's a doctor, vice president of AMI at Campinas, to deal with this topic and to tell us what he has to say about this topic. 20 minutes, Dr. Alencar. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you. Thank the invitation, Dr. Mário Sérgio Sobrinho, Paulo Martelli. It's a pleasure to be here at this panel with Gabriela, Dr. Lotufo, Now, experience we from Campinas, that's what I want to bring you. My name is Eduardo. I'm a family doctor, community doctor. I'm also a homeopath. In 2004, when I worked at Brasilia for the Zemini Foundation, we underwent specialization on chemical addiction, and as from there, I have working in this topic. Now I'm a vice president of the Spirit Medical Association of Campinas, where we have a group, Apoio Fraterno, which is the experience I'm going to talk about today. So I'm talking here today to you as a volunteer of this group, and this presentation is available for those who want. I know that you sometimes take pictures of the presentation, but I can make this presentation available for the organization of the event in case you're interested in the slide. I know there's a person here keeping track of time, but I'll keep in mind my 20 minutes. So now some concepts that were talked about on Tuesday's panel, spirituality based on evidence. So it's good to bring some evidence that we're going to talk about today. And the matter of religion, it is an organized system of practice, beliefs, rituals, and symbols used that allow for human beings to experience and have experiences with the sacred, or transcending experiences. So religiousness is how much a person expresses or practices its religion. So we have this division between intrinsic religiosity and extrinsic religiosity. The extrinsicity is what you actually practice, put into practice. That's the intrinsic. And extrinsic is more related to practicality, the group, the community, external factors. So we have the concept of spirituality. I'm going to read to you. It's personal search for answers for matters related to life, to existential significance. So spirituality is searching for the meaning of your existence, and its relation with the sacred, the transcending concept of life, can lead to religious rituals or not, and can lead to community rituals or not. So as seen on Tuesday, there is non-religious spirituality. Do you agree with that? That yes? Yes, we have great exponents of human beings, such as Frankl, Solomon, Sponvili, that talk about this. And it's not to do with atheism that fights against religion. No, it's a spirituality that does not adhere to religious traditions or institutional rules. So I know that I believe that you know people that are very spiritual but do not follow any religion. I believe each one of you know a person like this, but they're related to arts, they're very related to experiences in nature, people that dedicate themselves to spirituality and are very spiritual but are not religious. And we try to make some comparisons. Religious is the bridge that favors the encounter with sacred, but it's not sacred itself. As a metaphor, religion is a shoe and the path is spirituality in the search for God. Religious is like a school, swimming school helping a person swim toward God. So you can do that through a religious system or not. And so we like citing these two authors, who are the ones that publish the most research, the most spirituality and health. So Harold Kennedy, an American psychiatrist, a book translated into Portuguese that he has, very interesting, a short and interesting book called Spirituality in Caring for the Patient. Why, how, and what? We as health professionals, how can we address our assisted, our cared for person, our patient regarding spirituality? When we address this in a clinical visit, we address the spirituality of the patients, not ours. So there are the publications here of Kennedy and Alexander Moreira Almeida. This is a psychiatrist also, professor of the University of Juiz de Fora, with great publications in this, a large volume of publications in this area. Also Lotufo, Francisco Lotufo Neto, and we have several publications of these authors that will bring this topic, spirituality influencing, so spirituality, religiousness influencing healthcare, mental healthcare, and chemical addiction. Many famous authors like Freud say that religion create neurosis, but there are many texts that have a religious concept that are within the background, academic background of the health professional, which makes us sometimes think differently. But Alexander published a review of many articles making the association between religiousness and mental health, saying that a person that has a religion or is spiritual has better well-being, psychologically speaking, less ideation regarding suicide, and less drug use. So if you want the presentation, here's the link of this scientific publication of Alexander. So just linking to what Gabriela said in the mutual help, the one that is most known, the 1935, two alcoholic men that created in 1935 the most known group. So they did also go toward people and search people that used also the practice of Christianism and faith in its recovery. So the 12 steps is related to spirituality. So we had also the experience of Amor Exigente, 1978 being its first group. The story of the creation is very interesting. A couple of psychologists, they had 3 daughters involved with drugs and illegal actions. This movement expanded rapidly, and we have the exponent here of Amor Exigente, who was Father Haroldo. So these mutual help groups before talking about Apoio Fraterno, so we have a publication of the Spiritual Medical Association of Brazil in its edition of December 2023 has an article from Dr. Marcelo Saad about therapies that are supplemental and related to spirituality. So what do we offer? Fluid therapy and moral revision, cultivating virtues, and other alternative therapy. So a person that looks for a spiritism center starts being served and are chemically addicted. They are usually guided toward one of these spiritual practices that sometimes it's much more than a passive perspective. It's of belonging to a group where prayer, where he will receive a pass, he will receive the water, but it also works on the codependence of those that know someone or is related to someone that abuses of drugs. And we, in Santo Angelo, we launched this group by Dr. Edson and Dr. Denise, Nurse Denise, and that has its own methodology. So they studied and participated in certain groups, 2 years studying literature, exchanging experiences, practical living and experiences. And in 2002, they created Amor Fraterno in Santo Angelo, and then in 2013, after expansion, they actually created a unit within a specific department of health of mental health in a university. So it's directed toward communities where drug addicts and its families, they will progress through their speeches, through their voice, and the volunteer is the person that creates the environment, whether online or on site, and also promotes and represents these people in the Spiritism movement. We as volunteers participate in this group. Some groups are on site. Campinas one is on site, but there are virtual groups also, online meetings where we represent within the Spiritism movement and in society. What we're bringing here is just a small part of where we act, and we notice that the great beneficiaries are us, the volunteers, because we work in a Spiritism group in Amor Fraterno and bring this issue of spirituality, all the hardship gone through the codependent and the drug addicts. We also go through. We don't use the substance, but we have the same type of troubles. So we also are benefited by this group. So here we have a publication, Chemical Addiction and Spirituality within the perspective of the Spiritism and medical area. And so Dr. Angelo and Alejandro are the authors of this publication. So they are the main authors of this book, where we have the entire schedule of Apoio Fraterno. We have here the 12 principles of Amor Fraterno. Every 3 weeks we work one of the principles. Our group was created in February. Now we are working the 9th principle, the fraternal support principle. Many of the things of our meetings are derived from the 12 steps of AA. And here we bring very quickly how this group is organized. At first, we arrive 1 hour earlier to organize the place. We make an harmonization between volunteers, and the spiritual center is where is open. We have the doors are open at 9:15, 9 and 9:30. We close the doors.
First, everyone is together, those who already go there. And at that moment, we have the spirituality meeting. It lasts 35 minutes. The coordinator of the night talks during 20 minutes. It's 20 minutes period then. During 50 minutes, participants will make comments on that principle, what they understood. So first we welcome everyone, we pray, and then for those who are going for the first time, we have a welcoming group, and we talk about the need to acquire the book, to practice the gospel at home, and we offer other services from our house, and then we offer the mental health services in Campinas, Capsade, and other mutual health groups, our co-brothers. We also offer these services. We provide them. We offer these services to our patients because we only have these groups on Fridays. Then, in a second moment, inside a room, dependence in one room, codependence in the other. It's a 45-minute moment. People talk about, give their testimonies in a large mirror gallery. So they talk about what they're going through, their difficulties. We ask questions. And at this during these testimonies, we do not counsel them. We do not offer counseling. We don't try to convince the person of what she or he needs to do. People ask questions, and those who are there for the service and respond. Then everyone goes back to the big room. Depending, so then everybody comes back to the room. Then we pray again, and then we talk about the commitment, and we also hand in brochures, and then we have every Friday after those who we assist leave, volunteers gather to have a technical meeting and talk about what worked and didn't. Then going back to the spirituality issue and scientific papers, we conduct that work in the house, the Spiritism house, but we also disseminate those issues regarding alcohol. So in this panel about alcohol, we always we always bring this study from 2018. No level of alcohol consumption improves health. So this was a very interesting study because it was on the media. Here, alcohol harms health, even used in moderation. There's no safe level of alcohol consumption according to research. So everything that the media shows against alcohol, it's for a short time. But what this paper from Lancet, so about the consumption of alcohol and global load of disease. So there are it comprises 59 studies from 1990 to 260s in 195 countries. One of the goals was to quantify the level of alcohol consumption that minimizes the general risk for the health of an individual. We had here some findings. It's the main global risk for deaths among the population aged 15 to 49. And the main conclusion, that's what we are taking to all the places where we talk about the issue. This is a quotation from the paper. We discovered that the risk of mortality due to all causes, and specifically cancer, increases with the level of consumption. And the level of consumption that minimizes loss of health is 0. So when health professionals can tell patients to drink 0 times, so regarding cancer and violence and issues faced regarding traffic, so alcohol doesn't solve anything. So when we go to the Spirit House, chapter 3 of the Gospel according to Spiritism, Jesus said, there are many houses in the house of my Father. So he divided the world into 5: primitive worlds, proven explanation, regeneration, the divine. Where is the planet Earth in these different worlds? Kardec says, according to Saint Augustine, it's a message from Paris, 1942. The regenerating worlds are a transition between the expiation and happy worlds. If the person is not well established in the path of good, it may relapse. If we are in a process of planetary transition, those who do not adapt to that transition, they will be exiled in another country. So we have a publication called Caminho da Luz, the Path to Light. It says that the Adamic life comes from the chapel system. The spirits that were not, whose behavior was not adequate for transition, they came to help our planet Earth. And in this process of planetary transition, we say to everyone who goes to our center and inside the movement that other psychoactive substances, they do not match with the world of regeneration. So we are in this process of evolution in our country. And in the regeneration world, psychoactive substances do not match with it. So you have a movie in which the character is suffering due to the characteristics, and other spirits call him a suicidal person because he doesn't understand, because he died of intestine cancer, and he has a dialogue with a spirituality doctor, and he tells him, "I'm so sorry, it came through suicide." The organs of the somatic body have incalculable reserves according to the wishes of the Lord. So we are prepared to walk a certain time. We have a time in our lives. My friends, but you wasted precious assets of your physical experience. So you reduced your life to mere attempts in worlds that did not work. So your body decayed due to bad food and seemingly unimportant alcoholic drinks. So So then it's a suicide. So we are aware that of what alcohol causes. This is the brochure of our, this is a leaflet, I'm sorry, of our house. Here we have our email, our Instagram. Every Friday we get together. So only to end the theme of the conference, mission and omission, we have the question of 932. Kardec asked the spirits why the influence of the bad are stronger than the ones of the good. Because because men and women are weak. The the good are shy and the bad are big and audacious. So when they want, they they do more work than the good. So our influence, our knowledge, everything we know, if we don't put that in practice, if we don't speak to others, we are being omissive. And sometimes we observe that in our moment. When we talk about that, there's no sense in when we are going to throw a party for a child, you put alcohol in it. So it makes no sense. So that person who is in a recovery program, he goes to the Festa Junina, the June parties. Why our schools have alcohol? Why do our houses have alcohol? And as we expose ourselves to alcohol, we receive a counter-offensives. So we always need to alert people on the issue of alcohol and its risks, and it's risky to expose our children and youth to alcohol. We have this event on November 9th. It's an event for 500 people, and there are only 50 spots left. Thank you for the opportunity. Well, my friends, thank you for your presentation by Dr. Eduardo Tomaziello. He broadly spoke about alcohol, the most used drug, showing how important it is to associate to therapies, the therapies that we classically know, and associate therapy with spirituality. My experience with alcohol and drugs, I've been seeing many people enter and remaining in recovery, especially those who are able to embrace that issue of personal and intimate issue of spirituality, and it helps a lot. So it is very important that entities that work with this type of care and attention, they do not forget that more private aspect of people and offer them support that can help them in that field, in addition to the technical portion. Dr. Eduardo reminded us of Father Haroldo, an iconic personality in Brazil due to the work he's conducted and developed in various environments with various people, and also that attention towards spirituality as a supplement, as a contributing factor, an important contributing factor for the recovery of people. And for us who are treating those who have problems, we can find support and help us continue to do our work. Now we have the presentation of Dr. João Paulo Lotufo, and if you have any questions to ask to our panelists, please just send it to Andre, and he will send it to me so that I can ask your question to our panelists. So please, Dr. João Paulo Lotufo, you have the floor. Thank you. Well, great. I will start here. I'm the one who is responsible for passing the slides, right? I'm here at the University Hospital, where this area here is a corridor that leads to the anti-tobacco group. And actually, I forgot to show this yesterday. I have here many medicine students smoking an e-cigarette. So, and I wanted to discuss with the medical board of the hospital so that we would end that, because the patients who are under treatment in the building, they are not smoking when they are in treatment, and they have a large withdrawal of cigarette. So then a commission was set up to address that issue. And I said yesterday, when you want something not to move forward, you set up a commission. Then after 4 meetings, 1 per month, to discuss what to do, I decided to put up those posters. I paid 110 reais, 5 posters. We cleaned the wall and we placed those posters then. And today we decreased drastically the consumption of e-cigarettes in this corridor by the hospital. Why am I saying that? Don't wait. And then there's the issue of alcohol. So alcohol consumption is constant in the entire world. And Brazil has other problems. We don't have rules. So what we have here is drink and driving in Brazil. People continue to drink and drive. It's the same thing. My sister died. I'm died 55 years ago in a car accident when someone driving on the opposite lane, and the person had been drinking. She had cerebral brain death, and my father had to sign paperwork to turn off devices. And I know what means to lose someone in a car crash due to an idiot who was driving after drinking. If I ask anyone, how many of you here went to a party and left drinking that party, and left driving, I'm sorry. I'm not going you to raise your hand, because half of you will raise your hands confessing, and the other hand is lying. The other people are lying. This is a party in Ouro Preto where we see the amount of alcohol served. And what called my attention was because I was starting to work with the issue of drugs, and 2 university students died due to alcoholic coma. And one of them was the 5th child of a poor family, the only one who got into university. So he died of due to consuming too much alcohol, because Ambev offers free alcoholic beverage to academic centers. I don't have any conflict of interest, because Ambev never wanted to sponsor Dr. Bartos's project. Why? I talked to Ambev, and my booklet is called Alcohol, Tobacco, and Marijuana as Pediatric Drugs. And when they opened that, they said alcohol is not a drug, so forget it. We're not going to help you. So that's the situation we are in. So here, experimentation from 10 to 17 years old, you hear when they try alcohol. So you see that 314, that's the crucial moment. But you have people, 10-year-olds drinking. You have a child newborns who are given alcohol, and people put alcohol in their bottles to calm them down. And this part here that is blue and purple are those who drink every day. So you have here a percentage of alcohol dependence. So here I have to decrease alcohol experimentation. Rio de Janeiro, alcohol intoxication among children on weekends. You see things increase that drastically. Every alcoholic, you say, do you drink? They say, no, I only drink socially. There's no alcoholic who does not drink socially. But what does socially mean? So one portion of us is the famous binge drinking. What's binge drinking? It's to drink too much, on weekends especially. So that's what we see. Here I am in the ER of the University Hospital. A bus left school with 40 angels, aged 14, who went to the university, visited the anatomy museum, etc. One of the boys took a vodka bottle inside a soda bottle in a man's, and he got 20 children drunk. So we had 20 14-year-old boys under the effect of alcohol. And this boy was in the worst situation, almost a superficial coma. That's the teacher. She's desperate, and she went there with her 40 students to go to and visit university, and had 20 of them. I had to give her some medicine to calm her down because she was almost having a heart attack. And here's the mother of that child. She said that child has never drank. And when he woke up, I asked him, why were you drinking? Did you know about that? Because the vodka was in a soda bottle. I asked him, did you know what was in that bottle? Yes, I did know. So why did you drink? If her mother told me you never drank in your life, he said, well, it's because the class was drinking. So if you have colleagues who drink, the chances of you start drinking is very big.
So here I'm at the end of an internship with my medicine residents. This was at the house of one of the residents. So you can see my Coke Zero is here, my wife, all the residents. It was at the time of the law, the zero tolerance law on alcohol. So I took two equipment to measure their alcohol levels, a disposable one and a police one. And what happened was that were 11 residents, all of them blew on the equipment, and what we saw was that those that drank just one beer during the barbecue, the device didn't show. So the breathalyzer did not show that the one beer was drank. But then I was not invited to any other parties after this situation. So two residents went to Vila Madalena, which is a place, a bohemian place in São Paulo, and they conducted a research there. They interviewed 50 people that were at the bars at Vila Madalena, and out of which 25 were going to drive and 25 were not going to drive. The average of beers drank varied from 0 to 10, with 4 as average. So the average was 4 glasses of beer, both in groups, of the one that were going to drive and the one that were not going to drive. So that's a problem. We have no rules. The rule for tobacco worked. The rule for alcohol did not work. So here we have an alcohol pact. When we see school abandonment, admissions, drownings, drug addictions on other drugs, and at the university hospital we have women, girls from 12 to 15 that got pregnant at a rave party, that had sex without knowing with whom after using cannabis and alcohol. When I ask at my talks, see, your friend, you, no matter if you're a girl or boy, you menstruate and then you menstruate 30 days later, when can you get pregnant? At what specific time can you get pregnant? 70% of the girls and 80% of the boys respond that you get pregnant when you're menstruating. So nowadays, the 13 to 14, 15-year-old boys do not know the time they have to defend themselves from an unplanned pregnancy. Next one, please. This one is at an Olympics contest. The girl lost the bicycle race, and he got drunk at the Olympic Center, was expelled from there, was thrown out from there. What called my attention here is that his parents said that he was happy for not being told off by his parents because they understood that he needed that. Do we really need this? And here, because I work with prevention against drugs, here we're in Germany, advertising of bottles in the format of beer glasses. If you chose between love and free beer, which beer brand would you choose? This is the type of advertisement that you have in terms of alcohol. So, a drink, one sip of beer already changes you, and then you get into complicated situations. So one glass of beer or a glass of wine or some type of liquor, you already have your distance and speed perception prejudiced. Harmed. So do not drink, because I know what it is to have your family be devastated by it. So this is what we know, and this happens today. It has not changed. If you open the newspaper today, you see how many running overs and accidents because of alcoholized people. And Brazil has no rules, as I said. I talked about this yesterday a bit. Here we have a bar, an okay bar, but you have alcohol-free zones in the city. We have nothing like this. We have 100 projects in the National Congress to regularize, to govern alcohol, and it does not pass. And why? Because the lobby of Ambev is huge. It does respect in the United States. Otherwise, Ambev there will be closed. But here, because you can do anything you want, Ambev's lobby is gigantic. A patient will ask me, "Doctor, my 15-year-old wants nargile and alcohol at their party. What should I do?" And I say, "You want to ask me, the pediatrician? Is that the matter? But she says that the boys won't go if there's no alcohol." That's not true. 50% don't drink. So, but you're worried not with the ones that don't drink. You're worried in offering alcohol to those that drink. So what happens is that if you're a heavy user of alcohol, then 37.5% go to other drugs. If you're a binge drinker, 16% go to other drugs. Those that do not drink, 2% go to other drugs. That's very old data. Luis Alberto, a pediatrician that became an alcoholist, had to stop medicine when he was young, then went back to medicine, was the first guy to fight against alcohol in pediatry. So what happens is that, cigarettes, we increased the price of cigarettes. We were not able to increase the price of alcoholic beverages. We have a law that is environments free of cigarette, and it works, but we were not able to do that with alcohol. Cigarettes are forbidden to be advertised, but propaganda here is shown at the same time where children watch TV. If you see the bets advertisement, I have a patient, she's 25, she's an abuser of gaming, bets, and cigarettes. She lost his fiancé because his fiancé decided to end the relationship because she lost all the money she had in gambling. It's something outrageous. And the advertisement of gaming follows the rationale of the alcohol advertisement related. So laws here are co-responsible for this. If someone smokes a cigarette in here, you have to pay a fine. And if you are an establishment, you will be closed for 24 hours or 30 days. So laws here on cigarettes are very, very strong, but not for alcohol. So if a guy will drink 20 bottles of beer at a bar and then will just drive. So we can change through education, but it takes 20 years to change a behavior through education. If a person drinks, this work is recent, then your cerebral cortex will be reduced, and it takes 7 months for this brain to go back to normal. So just imagine what this means in the cerebral cortex in an adolescent who's a binge drinker and drinks every weekend. The problem we have here is fetal alcoholic syndrome, because the girls are noticing that they are pregnant in their 3rd to 4th month of pregnancy. So they keep intaking alcohol. And then at the first 3 months of a fetus, the development of the brain is very intense. So we have to remember these. So syndrome of withdrawal at nursery. Alcohol, cannabis, THC, crack, cocaine, those are the most frequent ones. In the United States, opioids. This is going to reach us, unfortunately. And we will have problems with that. For sure, we will have to make a child be admitted and stay admitted for much longer. She will cry, won't be able to breastfeed, lose weight, will be more prone to infections, and all this is a cost for medicine. Here we have the syndrome of neonatal withdrawal can have biological effects and of development on the long term. Many of the children that we receive with intellectual deficit very likely is related to drugs at pregnancy of their mothers, whether alcohol, cannabis, or other drugs. So today we talk a lot about intellectual deficit disorders. Most of it is related to the use of drug at pregnancy, and we have to work on that. We have to address this. And here, the great importance, the great relevance of recent work, the youth are saying that when they want to smoke, they will smoke 3 to 4 times a week. Their school performance so they notice that with cannabis or alcohol, the two drugs that cause harm to the brain. If the person is only using crack, if he starts using crack, his brain will go back to normal. However, in the crackle land, as it is called, you have the, people that are addicted to alcohol, tobacco, cannabis, and crack. And 70% of the people there, alcohol and cannabis harm the brain in a definite manner. There are situations that we know what to do. This is from the data from 2011. Canada increased the price of beverage. If you increase the price of beverage, you will reduce consumption. Diadema, the city of Diadema, this is old also, closed bars at 11 p.m. from 100 out of 100,000 inhabitants, this reduced a lot to 11. But then they, when the mayor changed, they opened the bars again. So that's a problem. Short counseling for alcohol works. So here, this nurse made 5 telephone calls to this group, the control group, and she was able to reduce by 30% the stop on the use of alcohol just with the control group. In tobacco, it was 35% with 6% of the control group. So short counseling, it's in literature. You don't have to prove it works. It already works. other work, other papers where you have the reduction in tobacco use, in alcohol, in experimental illegal drugs after 6 months in working at a school. Reduction in alcohol use in several situations in elderly through short counseling. So it works. So at my clinic, my office is that, well, a pediatrician needs to know this, but I added this, the list of things that a pediatrician needs to ask. The relative risks of drugs in the family. What does that mean? Does any of your parents work, smoke, drink alcohol, use some other drugs? If you have parents that smoke, the children will have nicotine levels in their organism due to passive tobacco use. Do not have alcohol at home, because the chances of your child using alcohol or being an alcoholic is much greater. If you have cannabis at home, if you have psychiatric problems in your family, do not have cannabis. Why? Because cannabis will make the health and the psychiatric problem start or be onset earlier, and a harm on your brain can be greater. I created CODAGE. What is CODAGE? Center for Directing and Stopping the Use of Alcohol and Drugs. I can guide a family to what it should do. So I open the AA website. I see which AA is the closest unit is the closest, which CAPS AD is the closest, and we'll give the family several options. So it's a guiding center, not training center. It has helped a lot. This is our material. This is Dr. Bartol entered college when a freshman died after a party and was ran over. He was drunk and run over and died at the university. So this is absurd. Here, my grandfather disappeared. So it's called Grandpa Disappeared, the name of this story. And so we have, because of alcohol, and so materials where we can give the children. This is the new book, Alcohol, Tobacco, and Cannabis, Pediatric Drugs. And these are the 12 steps based. Everyone bases itself. Everyone wants to create a 12 steps, so I had to create 12 steps too. Now I'm going to show a very short video. I'm going to display a very short video, which is an idea of what a child learns in our short counseling sessions in the clinic. I'm sorry, the audio is not audible, and it's not possible to translate. I'm sorry, it's not possible to understand what the video is saying. It's not possible to translate. So this is the speech of a boy after he received short counseling from a resident, and for sure yesterday and today they're not going to short counseling because I'm not in their hair for that to happen. So it's difficult to make the doctor understand this. The doctor wants to medicate, prescribe medicine, treat, but doesn't talk much. So we are fighting for this to increase short counseling. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. So our great gratitude to Dr. Lutufu for his dynamic presentation and the large number of references showing how much a doctor, a pediatrician, those that work in the health area can contribute to the prevention against the use of substances. I don't know we have questions or not, but we have 6 minutes. I would like to take this opportunity and ask a question to each one of them. One single question to each one of them, that maybe they might use it to complement everything that was said here in this panel about alcohol being the most used drug there is. Here in this Congress, the 9th Freemind is dealing with the mission and the inaction of society. I'd like to ask each one of our panelists for a final round. Dr. Gabriela, Dr. Eduardo, Dr. Lotufo. For example, what does the AA have as a mission, and what would be their inaction? What is AA not doing? Same thing for Dr. Eduardo and Dr. Lotufo. Thinking regarding spirituality, what it does do and what it does not do, and pediatrician medicine, what it does do and what it does not do. Okay, I'll stand up because if I keep sitting down, no one will see me when I speak. Well, AA does this. Does whatever it can within the schedule, within its agenda, and within its structure of AA services where it is invited, as I explained. What AA does not do. Thank you for this question. It's very interesting. It does not get into partnerships, does not accept donations, external donations, do not get involved with politics or ideologies.
But if it's invited to go to AMI at an event, a member of AA or a representative that's non-alcoholic or representative may give a talk about AA in events that addresses other issues, other topics. So AA is where it's invited to talk about AA-related things, but it's supplements. AA does not promise treatment, nor it has obligations. In AA, everything is suggested. We usually say that the disease of alcoholism is the same for everyone, but the recovery is individual. Each one will execute it the best way possible within an individual's life. Thank you. Dr. Eduardo. I will speak very quickly. The issue of mission and omission, what I understand, and I will talk about the volunteers of our Apoio Fraterno group. We have been developing these meetings and these actions and having a good performance within what we want to do in that place. So we are able to recover some individuals and our own recovery in view of life's adversities. And I think that in this sense we are doing well, but in the part of a mission, and then making specific criticism to spiritists, we're not to spiritism followers. We do not follow a religion only inside our church. And in the moments we are together with those who share our belief. But in society in general. So our biggest issue regarding omission is that we must repeat and say all of that to our society, to our family, to our neighbors, to our co-workers, and talk about alcohol and other drugs. Not only when we are in our church or with the person we are helping to treat. So for instance, to be a volunteer at AF, you cannot use any drugs, not even socially. Drink socially. So those who say they drink socially, they are lying. So when we in our meetings, in our technical meetings, we talk about that a lot, because sometimes it's very comfortable for us to have our actions only in our backyard. We don't want to put ourselves out there, and our work now is to put ourselves out there more and more and decrease our omission. Thank you. I will talk over there, okay, for a reason. Well, inside the medical field, what happens? It's very difficult for us to have a pediatrics conference without having the issue of drugs as a theme. So this was a persistent work of putting in the Brazilian Pediatric Society the drug issue, making it address the drug issue. So how Dr. Bartol lives out through magic. Here I brought not a can of beer, but a can of Coke. It's even white, this Coke here already. Why am I showing you this? Because I need to address these issues in a playful manner. I have my magic tube here when I'm going to talk to children and youth. And I have my magical cloth. I'm going to put it over my magical tube, magical bottle, and I'm going to use the magic word, abracadabra. And what happens, actually, I've just broken the lid of this bottle. Okay, 1 second. But it's fine, no problem. We can remove it. And we remove this, and then the can disappears. So it's easy to remove beer. It's easier to stop drinking than to stop smoking. And actually, what Dr. Bartol doesn't do, he does not give lectures for students at schools, especially public schools. When you have 800 children in a patio, they give you a microphone that does not work, a screen that does not project, and you have to address 800 students, out of which 200 want to kill you because you're there. So I don't do that. What we do, it's a lecture for teachers, for them to understand better the issue of drugs, the risk of drugs, so that they can take that project, such as this video, to children and adolescents, and they are going to work at school. It's no use to go to a school once a year and say something. This has zero efficiency. But teaching teachers to make a horizontal work, that's the thing that works. Thank you. I was curious to know what he had in that bag. I asked him, do you want me to hold that bag for you? He said, no, thank you. So he gave us this gift, a presentation, a more emphatic presentation about prevention. So I'd like to thank Freemind again and the organization. I see here Samuel, Giselle, Andre, Paulo Martelli, Dede Martelli, for their perseverance, for their dedication and their strength to be holding another conference here in Águas de Serra Negra, in the water circuit, to bringing to this region a moment of discussion about alcohol especially, so that we, as professionals, as students, as people who are interested in knowing that issue, getting to know more things about the risk of alcohol. That's what we saw in this panel. There is no dose or amount or quantity that's safe to use alcohol, to consume alcohol. So this message, as Dr. Eduardo said, is not addressed by the media, or little addressed by the media, and we must think about that more. So that's the end of our panel. And in the name of the organization of this event, I will now hand in the participation certificates to our speakers. First, Dr. Gabriela. Would you like to come here, please, the three of you, so that we can even take a picture?